and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Olumide Macaulay. On the program today, the president orders a ceasefire in the Niger Delta to give room for dialogue with the militants. Tribunal throws out Idris Wada's case, upholds Yahaya Bello as Kogi State governor. And Governor Ben Ayade leads cleanup operations to dump sites across Cross River State, demands hygienic attitude from residents. Thanks for joining us. We begin with the continued reaction to the murder of Mrs. Bridget Agbahime in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria. The latest coming from the Kaduna State Governor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, and his Bauchi State counterpart, Governor Mohammed Abubakar. The duo made their opinion known at the Imo State Government House during a meeting with the leadership of the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Group, Ohaneze Indigbo. Both governors condemned in strong terms the unfortunate incidents, as Governor El-Rufai advocates that perpetrators should be tried in an open court and made a public spectacle for their penalties.
People use religion to divide people. People use religion to make money. People have no other profession than religion. It is what we are fighting. It has manifested with the murder of these people. But I am happy that this time, like the case of Gideon Akaluka, something is being done. If those that killed Akaluka were tried in open court and hanged for killing him, nobody would do it again. But we have a way. We have a way as a country playing with law enforcement. Without law enforcement, nothing can work. And here we are 20 years after it is happening. Many of us as governors have to do something. You must do something quickly, publicly, and very clearly send a message that this kind of nonsense will no longer be tolerated in the new Nigeria we are trying to build.
A historical problem. Before the other parts of Nigeria began to bear the brunt of this so-called Fulani herdsmen, it was the northern parts of Nigeria that were bearing the brunt. We have a special name for them. They are called Udawas. Yes, they are Fulanis, but they are not Nigerian. Because everybody here will attest to the fact that historically he has grown to know the Fulanis, the Nigerian Fulani cattle herdsmen. They are peaceful. They are simple people. Probably the most complicated equipment you see with them is their radios.
Governor of Bauchi State Mohammed Abubakar and Malam Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State. Now to the oil and gas sector. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachiku, says the president has ordered the military to suspend operations in the Niger Delta for 2 weeks to explore the option of dialogue with the militants. He says the federal government is determined to explore the dialogue to the extent of restoring genuine peace in the region. According to the Minister of State for Petroleum, the president is interested in dialogue and has mandated the military to halt the action for about 2 weeks to ensure a team that will be led by the National Security Advisor, retired General Babagana Mongunu, dialogue with the militants to ensure peace in the region. He adds that the federal government is not just committed to securing oil and gas installations, but the lives and property. The General Mongunu team will consist of top officials of the NNPC, service chiefs, and ministers from the Niger Delta. And concerning the military, operational planning processes amongst military and paramilitary personnel has been identified as a major factor in combating various security challenges facing the nation, in which they are fully involved. Acting General Officer commanding 3 Division Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Elvis Njoku, told participants at a workshop for military personnel in Jos that such skills will reduce collateral damage in operational missions.
What we are trying to do is to refreshing our staff officers and the commanders, in the art of planning operations, okay, generally, so that at the end of the day, missions are achieved without too much collateral damage and the rest of them. So there are actually principles and guidelines in planning operations. It's not easy when you give somebody a mission, go and capture this, go and do this, go and do that. There are principles you should follow in planning. You have to think through the entire process, from logistics to assembling the troops to training them on the specifics of that particular operation.
And now, following the recovery of towns in northeastern states previously occupied by Boko Haram, many rejoice to see the return of some displaced persons to their homes from where they received temporary succor. Since then, different aid items have been donated to help them resettle, but even more needs to be done. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs promised to help during the visit to Damaturu with a gift of 1,350 metric tons of maize for the newly situated displaced persons.
For the first time in a long while, normal activities of life have returned to Yobe State. But farms left untended for several years have not yielded the necessary nourishment for the returnees. That's why the site in Damaturu of the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs with a gift of 1,350 metric tons of maize from the federal government is quite welcome. The Deputy Governor of Yobe State captures the situation.
It wouldn't have come at a better time than this. As you know, the situation in Yobe State is very pathetic. One, we have problem of insurgency, whereby our people were displaced. Thank God, now they are returning back to their homes, but they have not cultivated their farms for over 3, 4, 5 years. And that will tell you that there is food scarcity in the various villages that have returned. 2, in recent times, we have not been getting adequate rainfall. So that would translate to shortage of food also.
The Minister of State gives an assurance that more will be done to rehabilitate schools, health facilities and other infrastructure destroyed during the Boko Haram occupation.
There's going to be infrastructure development in areas worst affected by the insurgency. So as soon as the monies are released by the federal government, I'm sure there will be measures taken to rebuild the homes of the internally displaced persons, like police stations, schools and hospitals have already started.
Yobe State is gradually recovering, but it is evident that more is still needed to solve the problems of infrastructure, hunger and drought, and to return life to at least the level of comfort it was at before the conflict began.
Watching news across Nigeria. In the second part after the break, the governments of Cross River State and Anambra State take new steps concerning the environment. Please stay with us.